If they can't reproduce, then we're one step closer. A big step. Now is the time to band together. We need to rise up against these creatures of the night. These monsters are no match for the human spirit. We can do it. We just need to believe in each other. Believe in all of us. We need to make a stand. Right here, right now.
Dude, are you gay?
Hey guys, thanks us here from the Off the Grill podcast. Come on in. We're talking horror. Today we're going to talk about a movie that to me is very much an overlooked gem in the horror genre, especially within the last 20 years, and that's 2005's Feast. Feast initially debuted October 15, 2005 at the Chicago International Film Festival, but then a year later on September 22nd, 2006, it did receive a theatrical release, albeit a limited one. This film is the end result of the season 3 of Project Greenlight, the HBO series. So it's produced by that group of people with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Wes Craven, and a few others. A budget of $3.2 million, and probably for a variety of different reasons, most notably the fact that it only received a small release theatrically. It only pulled in a little under $7,000 at $658,573, which is a goddamn shame, because I think this is a movie that, while not completely lost to time, certainly doesn't get the due that I think it deserves. But I mean, hey, let's just get into it, right? Let's start with the good. Tretch from Naughty by Nature, fucking almost right off the bat, he plays a soldier, I guess, of some description, on leave. Makes a comment that he can go home, see the wife and kids, and then as soon as they'll have him, he's back on duty. He's back on tour. And the bartender character, two-time Talkin horror MVP, Klugulger. That's really righteous shit, man. Great way to go, And then Tretch goes, hey, you don't know my wife, which is funny. But it's great to see him, got to start right off the bat with him. And Clue, as a matter of fact. It's always great to see a returning MVP. The mini bios, life expectancy, occupation, that kind of thing that they pop up for each character in this movie, it's a great little tongue-in-cheek nod, and it did kind of get you primed for what this movie was going to be. So you kind of expect a little bit of what's to come. Jason Mewes is in this movie as well, playing himself, oddly enough. I've read some different reviews, or the synopsis even on Wikipedia gives him a different name that right off the top of my head I don't remember, but in every version of the movie that I've been able to track down, it always just says Jason Mewes. I don't know if maybe initially whoever wrote that saw some different version of it where they gave him a name, so to speak, which all the names are just kind of character archetypes: bartender, bozo, hero, heroine, things of that nature. So it's great to see him, but it's also great that pretty much at the start of the action, he's wiped out. He gets his fucking face ripped off, which looked great. And it's even better that didn't kill him. There's Clue's accidental gunshot that actually did him in totally, which that's another cool thing I guess I could talk about, because I don't know if I had that in my notes, that as much as Clue is kind of that kind of cool bartender, old cowboy kind of thing. His eyes are shot. He misses pretty much every round he fires off. It is kind of funny, and it's understated there. I mean, he shoots his boss's foot. The boss is banging out the Tuffy character upstairs. He accidentally shoots in the foot as the monsters first try to invade the bar. It's kind of funny, but they didn't really make it a whole. Look at him; he keeps missing, but it's there. It's nice. It's a little bit of subtlety, which, especially these days, you don't see a whole lot of. Judah Friedlander, also in this movie. I'm not a huge fan of Judah, at least that world champ character that he plays, but he's fantastic here. Pretty early on, he gets puked on by one of the monsters. And you kind of slowly see him start to kind of melt and just devolve and get more and more gross by the second. I have in the notes, easily the best thing he's ever done. Maybe that's a little harsh, but it is good. And he gets his eyeball ripped out by one of the monsters, and that's fucking sweet.
They're coming.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah, be careful.
I don't see a thing. I can't see a thing.
Henry Rollins. I love Henry Rollins. He's in this too, and he's fantastic. He plays like a second-rate motivational speaker. And I would have loved to see him step up and survive, but I can't, deny how funny it is to see him end up in pink sweatpants for the last half of the film that he's in. His, the last half of his movie life, I guess. So to kind of make a mockery of him and then kill him off is great, although probably if I were in charge, he might have been the guy to kind of fucking kick ass, take names, so to speak. Another great thing about this movie, another one of those things early on that kind of sets you up for, it's a little bit of, hey, this is what we're doing, but also you didn't fucking see that coming. The hero character bursts through the doors of the bar and, hey, I'm the only guy, that can save your ass, this, that, and let's get that head right off you, pal. Monsters rip his head off through the window. Great, it sets it up. And then shortly after, his wife, Heroine, pops in. We'll get to her later. But just to do that, to kind of, and obviously, with the mini bio still popping up at this point, you still have that kind of, hey, get it, they're just archetypes or whatever, but to just see him and then have him gone immediately, I didn't see it coming the first time I saw this. I think a great little, something. Great little something. I'm dumb. Fuck, leave me alone, A great little shock, we'll say. That works. The monsters in this movie, we don't know what the fuck they are, but they're gross. They look great. And it's all practical. There's no CGI in this movie, so all the blood, all the kills, deaths, everything's done, practically because there's no CGI to get it. See if I can over-explain that some more. Christ, I suck! Honey Pie, the blonde, she's one of the bartenders early on. They call her Honey Pie just because she's well endowed, easy to look at, some nice eye candy. She drives off probably 3/4 of the way through the movie, maybe even a little further along than that. But roughly. She drives off with the beer truck. I thought that was fucking priceless because they set it up. The group wastes all this time getting her to, putting her in a barrel and basically Donkey Konging her out of the bar, past the monsters to get to the truck, with hopes that she'll be able to back the truck up and get everybody else in. And she just fucks him over, just rides off into the sunset. It's fucking awesome. And not only was that funny, but it also kind of makes sense because she doesn't know these fucking people. And who's to say when she starts backing up, she's not going to just fucking die? Just these monsters aren't going to just like tear her apart. So it absolutely makes sense within the context of the movie. I love it. So another thing I loved in this movie, and it's something that I bitch about a lot in a lot of other movies because it doesn't happen, but they killed a fucking kid, dude. They take him right the fuck out, too. They make no bones about it. The Tuffy character has a child, and she leaves him upstairs in the boss's apartment, the bar owner, while he's taking her to Pound Town. I'm assuming for cash because he's kind of a fat, gross asshole. So she hides him in the closet when shit starts going down in the bar. Comes back up to get him with a couple of the other bar patrons, just the cast of characters. She opens the closet to find that he's not there, only to find that he moved from the closet to hide behind a couch or some shit. And she's, oh my God, thank God you're okay, this and that. And the monster just fucking blasts through the window, throws her across the room, and just eats the child, leaving nothing but a leg, maybe. It was fucking glorious. They made no bones about it.
Come here, you okay? Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna let you
They didn't go, ooh, are we going to kill him? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, they did give him a little mini buzz. Oh, we wouldn't kill a kid, would we? Which they do basically for that one they said, oh, well, he'll live a long, healthy life. But he doesn't. And it's beautiful. It's glorious. Now, there's a gentleman in a wheelchair in this movie as well. But we'll get to that in a minute. But I love that they just took him out. Again, it's one of those kind of going against expectations things that they pulled off in this movie. And it certainly wasn't lacking for blood either. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So another thing that I bitched about, the last 3 weeks I bitched about it, the Fear Street series. As much as I did love those, they're too long. This movie is not too long. It's really well paced. It flies along, and it's under 90 minutes long total from bell to bell. That's a very good thing. And it was refreshing to just be like, hey, shit, this movie's almost over. And that sucks a little bit. But I'm glad they left you wanting a little more. And that might be because there's not really much of a story going on. And a lot of times that can hinder a movie. That's not always a good thing. But this, it works. It's a bunch of characters in a spot. One spot, mind you, more or less. I mean, it is one building. There's the basement and the upstairs part. But it is just the one bar, which is nice. And the fact that these monsters are just here. The most we know is that they followed the hero and the heroine, and that was really it. Past that, we don't know shit about them. We really don't even know how they operate. They're bloodthirsty and horny. Who does that remind you of? But there's no explanation of what they are, which I think is great because that kind of well, what the fuck? Because they come from nowhere, to me, that's even more terrifying because it's not well, they came from this, so what if they try to do this? You're just well, how the fuck are they going to escape this? Which I like. Let's move on to the bad. One of the first things that I noticed right off the bat is the heroine character. It's pretty awful. I mean, it's not the character itself, it's the actress. The line delivery is shit from Jump Street. They try to make her this tough, badass type, and it doesn't work. She just ain't it. But like the line delivery is like porno-esque bad. Just I'd throw a clip in here, but literally watch the movie. Everything she says sucks. It's bad, just bad. And I'm really not going to blame the writers for it. That's on her. Maybe the director a little bit for not telling her get your shit together. But oof, awful. And now, on the same token, I guess a little bit, the Bozo character played by Balthazar Getty is also kind of shitty. He's way over the top as like an obnoxious asshole early on. And that is even with taking into account that, these are all kind of like archetypes. They're not well fleshed out, nuanced characters. Really, at any point in this movie, there's not a whole lot of character development, which maybe isn't new. But for what this movie is, I like it. Like if it were just another movie, if there was a Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street that was this bad at developing any of the characters, then it'd be more of a problem. But this is kind of just, hey, isn't this fucking fun? Remember the 80s? Remember fun? I don't. I'm not old enough. But the character does mellow out a little bit, but it's still wholly unbelievable to me that he ends up being, in essence, the hero of the movie, or at least co-hero with Heroine 2, which for no reason at all, I guess, fuck it, throw that in there too. No reason at all, the Tuffy character turns into Heroine 2. She kind of takes control, takes charge after the first heroine dies, trying to keep everybody together and keep their wits about them, but I don't know. She goes from like silent, like fucking catatonic Barbara from Night of the Living Dead to, Patricia Tallman in the remake. I don't know, like, with a snap of a finger. Speaking of Bozo, his brother, Hot Wheels, is the gentleman in the wheelchair that I spoke about earlier, lives. That's shameful to me. Why don't you kill him? They've been killing fucking wheelchair guys since 81. There's no reason he should have lived. He's not an especially likable. None of them are. But again, like I said, that's kind of because they don't ever really develop the characters. But he lives for no reason. And he's not likable. He's not likable. He really isn't. And on top of that, like, that's just too many people live. 3 people walk out of this fucking movie alive. 3. The wheelchair guy, Bozo, and Heroine 2. Wheelchair guy absolutely fucking should have left, 20 minutes before the end of the movie. Easy. If not before then. And I think Bozo probably would have been, at least for me, remembered better had he died. Maybe sacrificing himself for, Tuffy or Heroine 2 to live. That's just me. If I knew shit, I'd write a movie. I don't know shit. One of the only bits of comedy that really don't land in this movie for me was the monster's various sexual exploits. It's kind of like lowest common denominator shit to me. You see several times throughout the movie that the monsters are either banging each other or pretty much anything that has a hole. Some of the deer that are mounted on the wall. The biker chick that was about to rob the bar early on. After they send her out to be a distraction, she apparently gets a mouthful of monster love, we'll say. But It's too much. It's too fucking just didn't work for me. That's really all I could say about it. Although, in kind of the same vein as they're trying to get out from upstairs, one of the monsters gets their dick caught in the door, and that was a little funny. I kind of laughed a little bit once I realized that that's what had happened. But I don't know. Maybe if it worked for you, let me know, I guess. But for me, so the first thing I think I noticed that I fucking hated about this movie, literally hated, is its soundtrack is god awful. Just that terrible, like mid 2000s mainstream, like rock, metal, whatever, like Seven Dust ripoff shit. Like, Seven Dust is fine, good enough, but like the shit that just sounded like a worse version of it is just like that's the whole soundtrack for this, and it's bad, very bad. I hate it. I fucking hate it. I'll hate it. All right, I fucking hate it. I felt like they missed a big opportunity when they get the little monster in the ice chest to have kind of a callback with Gulager to Return of the Living Dead. And he's shouting out to James Karen and Tom Matthews, the combination to the master lock. The combination lock there. They could have done that and had someone else open it up for him, but they didn't. I don't know. That's, as a Return of the Living Dead fan, I think that's my problem more than the movies. But just something I thought about that kind of stuck with me. And this next thing is just tragic, man. They killed Tretch. I get that character is not a great one. It's not long for the world, but I mean, they have to do him like that. Just straight through the chest. Fucking, he's like the second or third guy gone. It's kind of sad. Oh shit. I'll mourn you till I join you. Henry Rollins' death really wasn't befitting for the amount of screen time he had, I don't think. Because he and the heroine leave the bar to go try to get to the boss man's truck. Because that's the initial plan, is to back that truck up to the bar and get everybody in on however they're going to fit them and get the fuck out of Dodge. But that goes wrong. And then several minutes go by before we see that he didn't make it. And it's almost like it wasn't off screen, but it was damn close to an off-screen kill, because they kind of just see the monsters like running him towards the camera, and then he's dead. Okay. He deserved better, I think. Like that character, that was one of my favorite characters in the movie for sure. So it would have been nice to see something a little more glorious for him. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is one of the bigger annoyances I had with this movie, and that's the old lady character. If she's not going to bring up, even reluctantly, obviously, I mean, you have to drag it out of her, the lore, kind of the old wives' tales of the area, because she's an old broad. Obviously, she's been there for a long time. It looked like she was a regular, There was dialogue that kind of hinted at that. I mean, if she's not going to fess up to either knowing what they are or having heard about them, whatever. It's not like she has to be responsible for them or anything like that. But, and they do make fun of that fact in the movie that, well, I don't fucking know. The bozo says, well, you should fucking know, you're old, you've been here forever. If she's not going to do that, that character and that joke can be, the joke can be, done with Gulager's character. Because he's also old, he's the fucking bartender, so clearly he's been there a while as well. And I don't care that she gave birth to Chris and Sean Penn. She served no real purpose. Beat it, toots. With all that being said, it's time to crown the MVP. And look, maybe it's a cop-out. I agree with you if you said that. But a lot of these characters are just archetypes. Most of them you can just throw in the bin and call it a day. Henry Rollins definitely got big consideration. Judah Friedlander as well. But like I said, I've kind of got a thing for old men, apparently. So, ladies and gentlemen, the only 3-time MVP in the history of talking horror, Mr. Clue fucking Gulager, as the bartender. You know, we gotta give it up to the misfiring, smartass, would-be hero, I suppose. You know, the gunslinger that's past his prime. I really like him in this role. And to me, it almost feels like he's not acting. This honestly is who I think Clue Gulager is in real life. You know, I think that's why his son, John Gulager, who is the director of this movie, cast the old man in this part, frankly. It is perfect casting. I love it. Love it to death. I love Clue to death. So now all we really have to talk about is the death or the kill of the night. But I mean, what on earth could possibly go here except for them killing a fucking kid, dude? It was perfect. It's just what I wanted personally. And it came a fuck out of nowhere, like I said before. You know, they didn't tease you. Just, nope, dead. And because I liked it so much, let's check it out again.
Come here, you okay? Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna let you.
Beautiful. Goddamn beautiful, man. But what did you guys think? You know, I mean, who was your MVP? Who was your kill of the night? I'd certainly like to know in the comments down below. But before I leave, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to talk about the old merch store, offthegrill.store. Grab your shirts. We got the logo, podcast logo shirt. We got the fucking A Kincaid shirt. There's the Off the Grill Vineyard shirt. That's pretty nice looking. And as always, we'll have the Pride variant on the podcast logo up. I've got some ideas in the work too, so keep a lookout for that. As well as t-shirts, all kinds of crazy shit, anything you can think of pretty much. It's in the store. But more importantly than that, I have to thank my patrons. So that's a huge thank you to all of them. Big Crack Rock, Hayes and Net Devon Graham, Christian Hannah Horror, S'mores Indoors, Nick Rizza, Jay the Stingray, Jess Graham, Orc145626, Daniel Shine, Lauren Dixon, Mr. Bombastic, RetroCac, The Daily Ghost, Slaughterport, and Ben Yukinevich. But that'll do it for me this week, folks. Take care, and as always, Iris loves you.